Hello, I'm Michelle Clary, and I'll be presenting on EDL's 853's Module 13, a case study when a student's rights are wronged. The summary of the case study is about a 10th grade student named Miguel Hernandez who moved into Nottingham High School a few years ago to be a part of the successful academic program and the football team. Miguel is a sophomore, but he's also the starting quarterback of the varsity football game. During the last regular season game, Miguel was injured in a play that left him paralyzed from the waist down. The opposing player and the school are not held liable to Miguel's injury and rehabilitation because the injury sustained as a natural result of the sport itself. The concern is Miguel has returned to school using a wheelchair, and his class schedule has to be changed. He cannot take biology because the classroom does not have a desk that can accommodate his wheelchair. The school changes him into another science class, but this science class does not meet the university requirements for admission, and it's Miguel's plan to attend the university after high school. Miguel's academic progress has been altered due to Nottingham's high schools not having a wheelchair-accessible classroom. Not providing biology in an accessible classroom is a violation of Section 504, the right to have the school district make accommodations to allow your child an equal opportunity to participate in school and school-related activities. The school did not breach the Section 504 student plan because it failed to present the process of the plan to the parents. The legal and ethical issues could have been avoided if the school had prepared and met with the family to develop a 504 plan prior to Miguel's return. The school and the family could have accessed the social worker services at the rehabilitation facility to develop a transfer of action steps that need to be completed within the home and the school in preparation of Miguel's return. Within the rehab facility family support services, they explain that Miguel now qualifies for services under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and they assist the family with filling out the paperwork. The facts are, Nottingham High School did provide educational services to Miguel while he was in the rehab center. The principal and the counselor did meet with the parents prior to Miguel's return to school. The counselor even assured the parents that they would follow Miguel's physician's recommendation. Where the school had missteps were, they failed to advise the parents of their rights under federal law, and they failed to explain the purpose of a Section 504 plan. They failed to write down any of the accommodations that the parents stated in the meeting. Let's prioritize the information. The people in the case are the student, Miguel Hernandez, and his parents, the family's attorney, the building principal, and the school counselor. The place is Nottingham High School. It appears to be a large public school district with a history of having success in academics and in football. The program that Miguel is wanting to access is the general education program for 10th grade. Miguel's future success is on an alternate path due to his injury, but it should not derail his educational future plans. The changing of a class may seem like a small change in a student's life, but did the counselor consider how it could affect Miguel? It could affect the school's relationship with the family, and it could also bring damaging publicity to the school and the district, not allowing a newly handicapped person to access a class because of a physical impairment. Options to consider. The building principal has some options in resolving the Hernandez concern with Miguel's class schedule. One option would be not to make any changes to the current plan. Keep the schedule with the alternate science class. Another plan could be to switch the classroom furniture of the alternate science class with the existing biology classroom. A third plan to consider would be to consult with colleagues on what it would take to get Miguel access to the biology class. Give parents multiple options, plan for his accommodations in all of his classes on a 504 plan with parent and school input. Let's evaluate the options. Option 1 is weak. The only pro to this plan is the principal is supporting the counselor in the class schedule change. There's multiple cons, not supporting the well-being or success of a student and not supporting an inclusive classroom. Option 2 does provide advocating for students' needs, and it does give equitable access to educational resources, technologies, and opportunity that offer support and educational success. The con is you're moving 2 classrooms of furniture. It's a disruption of the daily routine for multiple students and for the teachers to have access to resources that they're used to. The third option is writing a 504 plan that parents, Miguel, and the teachers have input to. It lists the accommodations advocating what Miguel will need access to in all of his classes. It does provide equitable access to educational resources, technology, and opportunities that support educational success. The con is it may take some training and preparation to implement. The principal might have to phone a friend. The best option is option number 3. A 504 plan is different from an IEP. The main difference is the 504 plan modifies a student's regular education program in a regular education setting. A 504 plan is monitored by classroom teachers. Creating a 504 plan for Miguel Hernandez to physically access Nottingham High School meets the needs of the student, parents, and the school. The plan will outline the accommodations needed to access the classes to prepare him for the university requirements. The outcome of the meeting could be making accommodations for Miguel to access the biology class and any other class at Nottingham High School. Another outcome would be to repair the trust between the school and the family. Implementing option 3. After listening to the lawyer and allowing Mr. Hernandez to speak his concerns, the principal will need to ask for time to consult and research the school's options with the superintendent. The principal will call the family to set up the next meeting, and they will also inform them that if their legal counsel is present, the school's legal counsel will also be present. In the meantime, Miguel will still attend classes with the current biology class. The principal's going to need to move fast. He's going to need to take some time to meet with people. He's going to need to meet with the superintendent to inform him of the concern of the Hernandez family, and they have an attorney representing them to ensure that Miguel has accesses to the classes he needs. The principal will also need to consult with the district's legal options to review the case to make sure he's not missing any steps. Then he's going to need to meet with the school counselors to see if changing Miguel's classes are the best option. They're going to need to meet to see if the counselor understands the process of implementing a 504 plan. The principal is also going to need to meet with Miguel's teachers to get input of what is going to be needed to have Miguel have access to their classrooms. Based on this information, the principal will need to implement a meeting date and time and agenda to present to the family. The agenda of this meeting is going to be, the purpose of it is going to be to develop a 504 plan for Miguel to access equitable education resources for all classes offered at Nottingham High School. The accommodations that need to be discussed are accessible transportation, having extra time to leave class early or to leave class late, a slant board for presenting classwork, preferential seating, locker location, making sure he can access it while using his chair, a wheelchair accessible desk, a wheelchair tray for access to materials, If Miguel had access to a wheelchair tray, he would still be able to access the biology classroom, and that would be problem solved. Another thing to consider is the use of the school elevator and an emergency evacuation plan. What can the teachers do? Many students depend on the equipment to improve their mobility and need to learn how to use it in many different situations in school and at home. For this, it can be challenging and frustrating. The teachers can alter the classroom environment to include everyone. Make sure the classroom is easy to get around and free of obstacles. The teachers need to have an evacuation plan ready in case of a fire and drills. It can be a good community building experience if you have a classroom discussion of how a plan can be proposed and implemented to make sure that everyone is evacuated in a safely, timely manner. The principal's role in this case study was key. The resolving of the case could have been resolution, or it could have been resolved quickly once a plan is developed and put in place. In this particular case, the principal's role also represents what the district's role is. And the principal's role is to develop and maintain a supportive, equitable, culturally responsive, and inclusive school culture. This case study also allows the school district an opportunity to evaluate all of their facilities to make sure they are ADA compliant. Overall, the principal's role is to model and advocate and uphold laws for students, communicate with all stakeholders about the process, and provide opportunities to support educational success and the well-being of each student, and follow up on the procedures and implementing of the plan. You don't have to meet just once with a parent to review the accommodations in a 504 plan. My sources I referred to in this presentation are listed under the references, and this concludes my presentation of the case study of when a student's rights were wronged. Thank you for your participation.